Assalamualaikum, everyone, and welcome to a day in my life as a first year university student. As with all of my videos, the goal of this is to help my fellow sisters prepare for the different aspects of higher education. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't live on campus, so I take the bus every day. I have a student card, which gives me a discount on the fare, and it's about 2 to 3 transfers, which takes around an hour and a half to 2 hours to get from my house to school. The buses I take do have free Wi Fi, but for some reason they won't work with my laptop, so in the mornings I usually use that as an opportunity to rest, maybe get a little nap in if I left my house super early, and prepare for the day I have ahead of classes. Sometimes I like to go over my notes from the previous day or go through the textbooks, readings, or videos that professors like to assign with their classes. Taking the bus with the niqab isn't that bad in the morning. Most people are just tired and sleepy. They don't really pay attention to you, so it's very low key. Being in class while wearing the niqab is also pretty easy. Every day I have 2 classes back to back that I scheduled in between the morning and the afternoon. It's a total of about 3 hours, and I did it Monday through Thursday. Although next semester I am hoping to only have to go to class or go to campus 2 days a week. During class and lecture, I take notes on my laptop using Notion, which is pretty good for customization and it makes your notes look a little bit cuter, but it does lose some of the functionality that you might be able to find on more popular word processing software like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. When I get home, I like to rewrite my notes in a physical notebook so that way I can retain information better, and also it's just a good way to review what I learned that day. Every time I have to step outside, I make sure to pull out my umbrella because it's very sunny where I am, and you kind of burden without anything to protect you. After class, I like to get started on my homework. Normally, I stay in the classroom for as long as I can, or I go to a study room or the library, or even a place that just has a lot of people passing by. Any sort of environment that can really support the idea of I am in a workplace and I do have to do my work. Psychologically speaking, it's easier to do work in a place that you already associate with work because if you do it at home, then you might be a little less productive. If you do it in your bedroom, you might associate that with rest. In your living room, maybe you have a TV and you associate that space with entertainment. Today, though, I decided to go outside because I really wanted some fresh air and just a little way to rejuvenate in the middle of the day. Taking the bus in the afternoon is a completely different experience from taking it in the morning, which completely surprised me in my first week of classes. When I get on the bus from my stop at campus, at least 20 other students are riding with me. And as we go through downtown and other areas of the city, more and more people are getting on as they leave work, go to pick up their kids, leave school, and even just run errands like going to the store. Once you get closer to your house, though, buses will start to get emptier because less people will be traveling to the same residential area as you. Wearing the niqab, I didn't run into any major issues, but there was one moment when I was taking my second transfer. One guy near the front of the bus was staring at me for the entire ride, and I was feeling very uncomfortable, especially as a person who doesn't enjoy being perceived. I found myself thinking maybe I should stare back at him, give him a taste of his own medicine, and make him look away from me. But I realized staring back at him can be seen as a sign of aggression, and I don't want anything to reflect poorly on my beloved religion, so I decided to let it go. When I get home, I like to take a small break and do other things that are important before getting back to my assignments. The first thing I'll do is pray Asr, and then I'll clean up, maybe eat some food if I'm feeling hungry, do some small chores around the house, just something to take a little break from school before I get back to the grind. Today, though, I took my break on campus because I found a really beautiful view and the breeze was very nice. I just sat and did some istighfar before finally getting on the bus, but again, I'd like to finish up my assignments at home because if I try to stay on campus for productivity to finish my work, I will end up getting home too late because it does take me the better part of 2 hours to get home. As I mentioned earlier, my classes do run between the morning and the afternoon, so Zuhr time happens while I'm at school. I recently found out that my school's Muslim Student Association has a designated area where a lot of Muslims go to pray and just hang out, so that's where I pray as well. But before, during my first few weeks at school, and as anyone else can do if they do not have a Muslim Student Association or a place to pray, is find quiet areas where people don't walk through but are highly visible. You want the place to be highly visible because you don't want to be praying in a secluded area or in an area where you can't see what's going on around you. But you want to be out of the way so that way you aren't blocking paths while you're praying, or so that way people don't cross in front of you. Now, I do know that throughout my whole video when I discussed wearing the niqab, most of my comments were about how easy I found things despite what I expected, and even one small incident was simply someone just looking at me for a bit of time. However, I do recognize that most of my ease comes from the fact that the city I go to school in and the school itself is extremely diverse, alhamdulillah. I have seen so many different kinds of people just walking in between classes for those few minutes, or when I'm walking down the street trying to catch a bus. I recognize that not everyone is able to live in a place that is diverse or is accepting of Muslims. So if you are thinking about wearing the niqab, just be careful and be aware of your surroundings. You shouldn't put yourself into any unnecessary danger or harm, so make sure you're situationally aware of what's going on in your social environment. Allah knows what's in your heart, so inshallah everything will be okay. That's all I have to say for this video, so I'll see you guys next time, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.